and became a Jewish scholar. One of the things that we would do when we got together, we lived in Arizona, so I visited him a couple times a year, is we would argue. We would argue about one thing or another. Is it okay for Jews outside of Israel to be critical of the policies of the government of Israel? Various things that we argued about, and this was one of them. He insisted that Christians could not turn that quickly. That Christians could not, in the span of 30 or 40 years, turn from the ways of the previous 1900 years. And I would point out to him, this was before some of the work I've been doing the last few years, the experience that I was having in one church after another. So we go back and forth and back and forth, and he is not that unusual. There are Jews who are still, if you will, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Is it real? So I believe with all my heart that it will take for the Jewish community one more generation for the spiritual and emotional change to really take part. I look at my daughter's generation, the late 20s, who didn't grow up with those experiences, who grew up after Vatican II, and for whom that history is history. See, when I talk to people in the Jewish community who are of a certain age, they'll say, yeah, but when I was a kid, I say, yeah, but that was 60, 70 years ago. And I know it's relevant to you, but it's not relevant to kids today. When we talk to young people today about it, they look at us quizzically. Yeah, they've heard about it in the history books, they've read about it, but it's not their personal experience. So when the people in our community who are now in their 20s and 30s get to be in their 40s and 50s and 60s, then I believe the Jewish community will be ready to wholeheartedly embrace the changes that I experience and that I see in all of my work that I do in the Christian community. Let me finally share with you a story. A story about a rabbi, a Hasidic rabbi. The Hasidic rabbis are, well, don't tell them I said this, but they look like Amish. But please, don't. Hey, Rabbi Mayersohn said you look like the Amish. At least for my career. But they're not too crazy. The Orthodox community is not too happy about what I do. That's okay. I don't worry about it. But it's a Hasidic rabbi. Black suit, white shirt. And he has a student. And the student one day, in a burst of warm, strong feelings, says, in the Hasidic world, they call the rabbi Rabbi. Says, Rabbi, I love you. And Rabbi looks at him, says, do you know what hurts me? Student, a 20-year-old. Student says, no. And Rabbi says, then don't tell me you love me. You can't tell me that you love me until you know what causes me pain. You can't tell me that you love me just because you like some of the things I say or do. You have to know my heart and soul. You have to know where I experience pain. And I believe that we as Jews and Christians are finally at a time when we can say to each other, I know what causes you pain. I know what hurts you. I believe that's what Vatican II was saying. I believe it's what Pope John Paul II was saying. I believe it's what Pope Benedict XVI was saying. I know what causes you pain. We can know what causes each other pain. And at that point, we can say, I love you. Pope John Paul II said that we can get to a place where we can see each other, Jews and Christians, as a blessing to one another. I believe that we are. I believe that Jews are a blessing to Christians, and that Christians are a blessing to Jews, and that together we can do just about anything. And that best of all, most importantly of all, we can love each other well and fully and in God's Spirit. Those with words of blessing. Ribbono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, we give thanks to you for this opportunity we have had to be together, to learn with each other, to talk to each other, to remind ourselves of how far we have come in just a few short years, to know that we have caused each other pain over the years, and in acknowledging that pain, we can come to each other and to you in love. That in loving each other, we learn how to love you. In the many names by which we know you, we say, Amen. Amen.